So let's go ahead, though, and talk a little bit about this amazing state visit. Just like sort of overall impressions. Obviously, I think it went really, really well. I think everybody was very pleased with how things ended up. Obviously, the royal part of it, which, is the part I enjoy watching, is not in some ways really the important part of this visit. It's not the something that makes or breaks the visit at the end of the day. Like the real truth here is that it's the stuff that goes on beyond these moments that actually have a real impact. This is here to just basically grease the wheels. It's to grease the wheels of power so that conversations can happen later. And I think that is sort of exactly what happened here. I think it was perfectly well. So Gretchen the First said, rad summary from this week in the Sun by Robert Jobson. Kate sparkles, Melania shines, Megan sprinkles. That is a good description of it. And as a reminder too, Catherine, is obviously clinking glasses here with Donald Trump. And what's so important about this, guys, in so many ways, is that she is in the room talking with true power. She is talking with somebody who makes a real difference in many ways. And Megan doesn't have the ear of anybody. She really doesn't. It was interesting because there was somebody on X who said that, oh, politicians are somehow connected to, these or whatever. And I'm like, no, they're or to Harry and Meghan. I was like, no, they're not. No politician is listening to the Duke and Duchess of Montecito over there. Nobody cares. And the problem is that they're not connected to this real power here. This is real power to sit next to a man like Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States, hugely influential figure, and that is true power. To be able to chat with him about essentially anything. Like, I'm sure again that they didn't get into the politics or anything like that, but you have the chance to build a relationship with somebody that could be definitely very beneficial down the line. And what's really striking about this is that Meghan can't do this. Meghan, I don't think in any form or another could hold her nose if she doesn't like Donald Trump, hold her nose and have a conversation with him as if he's a normal person. She would be probably doing a lot of passive aggressive digs at him. And I think it's great that she's no longer attached to the monarchy in many ways because of that, because she is not going to be helpful in this matter. She's not going to be helpful at all. Meghan Markle. She would damage relationships because she can't help herself. In Meghan's mind, her personal politics and her personal beliefs trumps all. And so she can't sit there and have a conversation with him without, I think, her trying to one up him in one way or another. And the power here is in not getting interested in, let's say, what is personal ambition. I think if you're a royal and you're really focused on personal ambition, I think you'll damage yourself in so many different ways because you're not seeing the bigger picture because you're so consumed with self, really can't see anybody else. And I feel like that's what Meghan missed out about this whole diplomacy thing with royals and how royals function and everything is that it is about just this, just having a conversation, just being nice to another person and not trying to get something out of it. Because when I think of Meghan, I think of somebody who constantly wants something. She is constantly, the people she's friends with, how she talks to people, it's all about angling to get something out of a relationship. Catherine, I truly believe. Now, she has some, let's say, guidelines from the government. Let's say if you can talk up this or that, that would be great. But she's not there in her own personal ambition. She's there as a representative of the British people, of the monarchy, to just simply have a conversation with somebody. And that is immensely more powerful, I think, than constantly having your own agenda. Because let's say it was a conservative government at play here. Meghan, we know, is liberal generally. And obviously the parties in the UK are different. But if, you know, there was a conservative government in power in the UK, could Meghan actually follow the party line and represent the British people correctly and ignore her own personal politics. I don't think she could. I think she'd be too interested. So she'd have a conversation, let's say, with somebody at a state visit like that, and she might undermine her own government, basically, if she was still a royal, because she would say something that they're not actually interested in promoting. And that is, I think, such a critical difference here. And Rit says it as well. Watching Catherine Amalia, the Princess of Orange, I believe at her first date dinner was impressive. She exuded confidence in class. Good job, Max and Maxima. Exactly. She has the confidence and she can do the job. And she's in her early 20s. And I don't think, guys, it's a job Meghan can do. And although Meghan, I think, is very, let's say, charismatic in certain ways. I think she does have a level of charisma. I think Meghan, what we've seen for years at this point, is somebody who is consumed with herself and her own vision and these sorts of things. So she can't represent somebody else because she's too conceited. She can only represent herself. And herself, I'm so sorry, it's just not really a great representative of a lot of things. And so because of that, I think Meghan is so much like the British royal family really dodged a bullet by her leaving the monarchy in many ways. She was never qualified to be a royal because she's too self-obsessed. She's too narcissistic to do it. And yes, there's a narcissism that comes with being royal and famous and what have you. Even a narcissism that comes from, let's say, having YouTube channels and those sorts of things. You can develop a level of narcissism from there, but you need to be able to set that aside to serve a greater vision than yourself and a vision that's not yours. Because if you listen to Harry and Meghan talk, it's all very, very self-focused. And when you're self-focused to that degree, even if, let's say, you're not even intending to, you could definitely mess up what they're attempting to do here. And this is what they do. This is what royals do, is they have conversations with people. They're there to, again, skid the wheels of diplomacy, not to make policies, not really to even advocate for policies, although I'm sure they're briefed on, hey, these are the things we're interested in closing during this during this visit. These are the issues we're looking to close. And the royals are not there to be experts on the topic. But I imagine, sorry, this is my just personal perception, that they are aware enough of them to where if they are asked about X, Y, or Z, they could comfortably at least say a couple of things about it and kind of, I don't know if push the agenda is the right issue, but help as this agenda is going through the different levels of, Parliament and those sorts of things. So very exciting. I think Catherine and William did a fantastic job. All the royals did, for sure. And it was nice to see when I was watching through my video and looking at comments, because sometimes I've done videos just even mentioning that royals have to have a relationship with Trump, and it would be insane to see all the comments there. But this is how royals function. Catherine is not there to display her own dislike or to throw a drink in his face or to dismiss him and be huffy or something. That is so, so, so not her job. Her job is to represent the monarchy, put her own ambitions aside, her own thoughts and feelings. She may not like Donald Trump, or she may actually be a fan of Donald Trump. It doesn't matter. Either way, her job is not to be there to display her own personal politics in the situation. Her job is to be there as a, let's say, broader representative of the British people. So Catherine did, I think, an amazing, amazing job. And then you also contrast this too with Harry apparently going and meeting Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine when he was doing his weird visit there, which got so weird. That Guardian article, I forgot to mention that. That Guardian article was horrible. It was horrible. And Harry is completely overstepping his bounds. And the thing is that if he goes and that's what happened, which I'm sure it probably did. The danger there is he could impact real world things. This is no longer a fantasy. I feel like Harry and again Meghan always see this fantasy thing. The conflict going on in Ukraine is very, very real and something Harry and Meghan really have nothing to do with. And if you're interfering with a country under attack getting weapons because it's more important for you because like, oh, Vladimir Zelensky wants to see me and I want to see him and I want to be like, sorry, I'm doing a little bit of childish impression, but like it's very childish. And this again is why there needs to be some sort of address kind of taking on this whole issue and examining it and what it means and like making it clear to Harry and Meghan and the rest of the world in a lot of ways. Cause I think most people are somewhat wise, but Harry and Meghan are also not that bright at explaining, even what their name is. So I think it's very important to address those sorts of issues and make sure everybody is clear on where everybody stands here, not really getting into the messiness of things, I think would be good. And we do have Pecky Spungen here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said Princess Catherine was a beautiful, gracious, and lovely as ever with President Trump and Melania. Such elegance, such a difference from Meghan Markle. Yes, Meghan just can't be diplomatic. She doesn't have the grace. She doesn't have the class. She just doesn't have anything. And so her being there attempting to sort of get these things on board, it's just not working in the slightest. And yes, Catherine looked great. So if you guys haven't kind of caught my whole fashion video about this event, I mean, I did absolutely love this dress, guys, for sure. One of my favorite dresses, I think, of Catherine's, especially a gala look. And I liked it because it had like this element of fantasy to it, fairy tale, all these sorts of things, which I was not totally anticipating. So let's pull it up here. But when it comes to this dress, I love the fantasy element of it. But it's kind of interesting to compare Catherine's look because we've had a couple of lace overlay looks from celebrities where they're like not wearing anything underneath. And I'm sorry, but I find this to be so much more enchanting than Dakota Johnson in her lace dress with just a panties and bra on underneath. I find this to be so much more enchanting and elegant and regal and all these sorts of things. And yes, that's what royals represent, but I sort of miss the element of Hollywood that sort of did that a little bit more too. Cause I do really like, and I'm focusing right there, but I really like that we do have like, kind of a shoulder pad element here. We have the high neckline. Now, obviously, it would be great to see her with an updo so we can get some more of the effect of the dress. But at the same time, I feel like with her hair down, she really sold the fairy tale element of her dress even more. I really feel like she sold the fairy tale. And some people are talking about Trump really likes gold. And so, I mean, that's probably true. I don't know if that she did that exactly to reference him, but the part of the thing about diplomatic dressing is knowing, about your host, knowing what you want to wear and how to best cement that relationship. And I think, oh gosh, I can't remember who said this. I want to say it was a member of like the Trump delegation or something. But I did read this briefly with, I think, and it makes total sense. Talking about how Catherine, like when she walked into the room, people gasped. They were so they were so blown away by the look. And I can understand. I like this much better than the red, to be quite honest, because the red I liked. I liked the flowiness of it. But at the same time, the red to me at least felt a little like I've seen something like that before. This really felt like, again, a fantasy. Like it almost feels like a costume you would make for Halloween, like a Tudor queen costume type of thing. That's what it feels like. The reference, again, I made the reference to, if you're familiar with the show Rain, like that. This outfit would very, very much fit into that show. And I think it's like a elevated vision of sort of Tudoresqueness. And so I don't know if that's what Catherine was going for. And yeah, I think that was true. Susanna says perhaps they were gasping at William. I don't think so. I gotta say, I don't think they were gasping at William, but they were definitely gasping at Catherine, I feel like, with the hair down and everything. Now, I will say, ladies and gentlemen, I still I still want new tiaras. I'm still bored with the like seeing the same one every single time. Last time too, it was Belgian Sapphire and Queen Mary's Lover's Knot for Camilla and Catherine. And I want them to delve into the vault more. Yes, the Queen Mary's Lover's Knot is beautiful, but there are so many others in the collection. Why do we just have to have this one all the time? I want more. I want more. So that would be my one, again, caveat. I did see somebody ask if that was Tiffany Trump in the background. Yes, she's the only one of the Trump kids who came. And then I saw somebody else ask earlier when it came to like the kids, like I think they were referencing Charlotte, George, and Louis. Would they come to an event like this? No, they would not come to an event like this until they were at least 18. And the Brits have been so, I feel like, William, I don't even know if William guys attended really a state function like this until he was in his 30s, and or at least at the very, very least late 20s. Late 20s. And this is very different than the rest of Europe. Again, the Brits are really behind the curve in a lot of ways. And I think when it comes to Catherine and William, if they want to, let's say, give George, Charles, and Louis a really slow entry into the monarchy, I think that's not going to be an option. And nor like, not that you like put them in a ton of things, but I think they should look to the examples in the Netherlands, in Denmark, probably in Sweden as soon as Estelle turns 18, how they kind of, or even Spain, how they like put the kids in more and more as they reach that age of majority, because the kids do need to learn, number one, but number two, you got to sort of kind of elevate the monarchy a bit. So yeah, it's like the monarchy in the UK does tend to look a little old, and so I think the best you can bring in the kids, not a ton, but as they're on breaks from school and everything, as they do in other countries, I think that will be very good. So that's just my, I think. Yes, okay, it was Rebecca English, Lisa says, who said there was an audible gasp in the press room when the Princess of Wales arrived. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. If you can make, because they've seen it all before, but if you can make them gasp, yeah,